Hey, thanks for checking out an episode of Beers by the Ivy. Today we're going to be breaking down Ohio State versus IU. I'm going to predict the X's and O's, things to watch out for in the game. How is Ohio State going to attack IU? How is IU going to attack Ohio State? Before we get there, though, first off, please consider subscribing. What I'm about to do, it's unique. Not a lot of people do it on YouTube. Please consider subscribing. I'm going to keep it going. But yeah, Beers by the Ivy. I'm loving it. Thanks for everyone for the support. Let's keep going, though. All right. On paper, let's talk about the on paper. Without a doubt, Ohio State has more athletic guys than IU, but that doesn't mean that IU doesn't have as good of football players. Because you gotta remember, this is a sport, and the sport is called football. And to be good at football, you need to be a smart, intelligent football player. Just because you're fast or athletic on paper does not mean that you're gonna be good at football. IU has fundamentally really good football players, and so does Ohio State, and that's why this matchup should be so good. I honestly think that either or, whoever wins, or let me say this, both teams should be in the playoffs. I think both teams are better than Penn State. I don't know why Penn State's ranked. Every time I watch Penn State, it just does not make sense to me. So I think both teams are solid. It should be a great game. For me personally, very tough game because I grew up an Ohio State fan. Grandpa went to Ohio State. Like my dad, diehard Ohio State fan. Of course, I went to IU, so very tough game for me. But nonetheless, looking forward to it. I've never had this problem. I've never had where IU is like at all good against Ohio State. So it's just very unique for me personally. But yeah, so this is Ohio State's baseline offense. They do different variations of this, but nonetheless, 3 receivers, a tight end, quarterback, running back, 5 linemen. All right, and then right here, the X's are IU's baseline defense, which is 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers or 2 linebackers, 2 corners, 2 safeties. Okay, so this is essentially the look that you're going to see in some type of variation the entire game. Okay, Ohio State has what I call like 3 zones that they attack, and they attack these zones very well, and they are a well-oiled machine in terms of like going 1, 2, 3, and just making sure that their zones are attacked in an evenly manner. Okay. Zone number 1 is right off the tail's butt, okay? That's inside or outside. Zone number 2 is just middle of the field passing, okay? They run these crossers all the time. Or I should probably put it this right here. Tight end, okay. Okay, zone number 3, so zone 1, right off the tackle's butt. Zone 2, crossers. Zone 3 is this box up in here, and these are their go routes, okay? The question is, for IU's defense, it always starts with the defensive lineman, okay? Can IU's defensive linemen get off their blocks and start sprinting? Because this game is going to come down to how quick can IU's defense cover a 5-yard space. That's all it is. This is football, okay? We know that Ohio State is going to essentially work up on these guys, pull their guard, and then we're going to try to run right in here, okay? How quickly can both the defensive tackle and defensive end get off their blocks and help? Remember, if you're a defensive lineman, you don't want to be blocked and you don't want contact. Okay, the only reason you have contact is if you just have to have contact, but it's all about rip and throw. How good can our defensive linemen, I should say, I want both teams weirdly, but how good can IU's defensive linemen shed blocks, okay? That is going to be hugely most important thing to stopping this run game, okay? Obviously, there's the fills or whatnot for IU, but that's it. Okay, because Ohio State is very good at, you can't see it anymore, but very good at this pulling guard, picking up blocks, hat on a hat, and this running back, Henderson or Junkins, like getting to the second level, which is be like the linebacker level. They are like elite in that category. Okay, number 1, can IU get off blocks? I feel really good about Ohio State right here in this scenario. The question is, can IU live up to that speed? Because they haven't seen it yet. They just have not seen that yet. Next, Ohio State's bread and butter is these crossing routes. It is essentially their whole start to their passing game is these crossing routes, right? They used to kill Michigan on this stuff, all right? The question is can IU read it correctly? I think they will read it correctly. And I'm not really worried about these crossing routes. I think IU's linebackers are both pretty. They're all pretty good, and I think they'll shut down the crossing routes. But that's one zone to look out for if you're watching on Saturday. Trust me, Ohio State will be looking for across the field crossing routes. And when Ohio State is really clicking, they give Howard a bunch of time in the pocket. So instead of hitting the receiver in the zone, he's hitting him a little bit out of the zone over here, so the receiver can run. So once again, comes down to IU's defensive line getting up the field. I honestly think IU's defensive line is better than Ohio State's defensive line, but I'll talk about that when I switch sides of the ball. Okay, next zone that Ohio State attacks is the go balls. They attack 4 or 5 go balls a game. The question is can IU safety, this guy right here, and the cornerback work together to close that 5-yard gap? Can they keep up? Can they keep up with Ohio State's speed? Can they keep up with Ohio State's entire flow of the offense here? Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, that is the question. I think IU's up to the call, but once again, they haven't seen this level of speed on a football field. I'm saying it 15 times, but trust me, it's true. Okay, but IU, I'll tell you right now, Curt Cignetti is as good of a coach as any coach on the Ohio State staff. He is that good, and his team and that system is a family of people that have moved from one site to the next site to the next site, and their final destination hopefully is IU. Ohio State, they always bring in these new coaches, and they're still trying to figure stuff out. But of course, by now, you think they would. But sometimes they still look chaotic in terms of their coaching mishaps. So I think IU will be better prepared than Ohio State, but I'm still concerned about this matchup right here, and I would definitely say this one up here, because that's Ohio State's offense. All right, so let's jump to IU's offense. All right, now let's talk about IU's offense. The most important person of IU's offense is, of course, Curtis Rourke, okay? And it's not about him making chance plays. It's about him making smart plays. The entire offense is a momentum offense. So they just need Curtis Rourke to make the smart play. Their offensive system is very intelligent, very smart, and it gets people open. So just don't take any chances and just move the ball play after play after play. That is IU's offense, and that's what they want, okay? Consistent moving of the football. And I know that sounds like, what do you mean? I just mean they aren't a big chance offense. They are a smart, strategic, take your shot when it's there type offense. Okay, second most important person, number 44, the H-back, the tight end, Horton. This guy is so important to their run game. Where he pulls, where he goes, and where he blocks is usually where the ball is going. Okay, I'll talk about him in a second. The third most important thing of IU's offense is the fact that they are a yards after catch offense, meaning they want to put together route combinations that their receivers catch the ball in space and finish downfield. Okay, if you watch any of their highlights, any of their tape, that's where they get most of their touchdowns, is getting the receivers open by smart schemes of the routes into space so they can get yards down the field, okay? And I know you're probably saying, well, every offense does this. These guys do it really well. That's why I'm calling it out. Every offense would want to do what IU does, okay? But IU actually does it. Once again, I want to talk about the H-back. This H-back, Horton, right here, he will go, watch him. Trust me, watch him. He will sometimes pull. Okay, let's say there's a run here. He's usually the lead blocker, okay? Or if there's any type of trick play or a counter, right, where we fake going this way, but now we're running the other way, he's always the first guy to go over and counter. He is a very good blocker, very good football player. I think if he has a good game, I like IU's chances. That's how important this H-back Horton actually is. He's pretty good in the pass game too, But I'm telling you right now, run game is so dependent on his ability to lead block. And of course the O-line's important too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a given. Okay, I'm just telling you, for insights, really, really look at number 44 on Saturday. Okay, next thing. Let's talk about the receivers. These guys are super freaking good, especially Cooper, but their whole unit of receivers are really good, okay? These guys somehow have a knack to getting open with space because their route running is very mature, very, very mature and very precise. All of them. So Curtis Rourke, once again, find the right guy, find the guy that's open, give him the ball, don't think twice about it. That's the entire key to their offense, okay? One thing I really like about their offense too, and this is kind of hard for me to like diagram, so I'm just going to keep talking, is they are a solution-oriented offense, but they sometimes run plays where, like if this guy's going to run a post, he's like the number one read, but the second read that they give Curtis Rourke is like a check down, like easy throw. And that allows their offense to continually move. That can be either, a guy running like, flat or this receiver running an out, but essentially Curtis will look towards the big play. And if it's not open, then his next read theoretically should be open, or at least should be open. I mean, that's literally what they do. They run a, tough route, more of like a route with less probability. If it's there, they hit it. And if not, his next read is the solution, which is a simple, easy route, maybe not even for a couple yards, but once again, their entire offense is about getting momentum. All right, that's my insights to IU. I don't have the official tape, so that's the best I can do with what I'm seeing through the TV. But yeah, once again, smart decisions by Curtis Rourke. The H-back, where's he going? Because he's the key. He's the answer. Figure out where he's going. All right. And then, of course, the receivers continually running really good routes. All right, Ohio State's defense, they're pretty slick. Okay, I feel like the one weakness, though, is I don't think their ends are very good. I think they're overrated. I think their defensive tackles are better than their defensive ends. I would say it's their big weakness of their team. I think a strength of their team, of course, is their safeties. I think their safeties are freaking really good and really dangerous. So once again, it's going to come down to like every football game ever. Can you run the ball? And the question is, where's Ohio State going to run the ball? Okay, or where's IU going to run the ball? Because IU really runs the ball well between the tackles. And the question is Ohio State's strength of the defensive line is between the tackles. So I don't know where IU is going to attack Ohio State. But that's another thing to watch out for, is where's Ohio State trying to run the football? Remember, football has intention. Okay, you have the ability as an offense to choose what gap you're running into. And that tells you as a viewer what the offensive coordinator and the head coach think of the defense, what gap they're choosing to run into. Okay, once again, IU likes to pound the ball in here. The question is will they, with Ohio State's strength of their defensive core being their tackles? All right, guys, thanks for checking out this video. Please consider subscribing. Not a lot of people do this. A lot of people just talk sports, talk smack. I try to get on the board, illustrate some things, so please consider subscribing. I'm going to keep bringing the content. But yeah, thanks, guys. Talk soon.